Andy Murray is no longer coaching him. It's quite sad, I have to say. I was looking forward to seeing them together at Roland-Garros and Wimbledon, but they've mutually agreed that this will not go forward together. So yeah, what do you make of that? I mean, Djokovic hasn't had great few months, I think it's fair to say. So do you think it was him letting Andy go, or what do you think, Joel?
Yeah, I think it's very sad. I would have loved to have seen them at the French Open, but I think the partnership maybe became untenable based on the results and the loss of form that Djokovic has had, over the last few months. And ultimately, I think it's fair to say it's been an experiment. And the experiment, although I think it got off to a good start in Australia and Djokovic was playing well, it's sort of petered out a bit. And I think the only kind of positive thing I can say about it is based on the kind of the statement that Djokovic put out. It is nice to see that it sort of helped develop, I think, their relationship and their friendship between them as players and the respect that they have for each other. So I'm glad it didn't sort of sour that, and actually it's enhanced that. But from a kind of results point of view, looking at it a bit more brutally and a little bit more honestly, it just obviously didn't work out. And maybe it suggests, the best players don't necessarily make the best coaches, and maybe that's something that Novak Djokovic might take away from the 6 month experiment.
That is interesting. We talked about that last week, I think, where about the sort of the fact that some people criticize those who comment about how someone is playing who don't play the sport themselves. And we said that a lot of the best coaches, you look at their career high and it's not that high always. So I think maybe there is something in that. But it did feel like they had a lot of fun together. But we did talk about success off the court and happiness of like having the fun, seeing those fun moments between them didn't quite translate, which is a bit of a shame, really, because I think fans obviously loved it. There was so much hype going into it. It did feel like Djokovic was trying to do something a bit different at this stage of his career. What do you think his next move will be coaching wise? Do you think he will be in that era of like, I don't actually need another coach, another opinion? Or do you think he will be on the hunt once more?
Does he go back to someone he, knows
Goran, do you
very
think
well?
potentially? Wait, who's Goran's coaching someone else now, isn't he? So off the market, but we'd have to see. What he does. I think it's hard to know because what does Novak Djokovic need right now, apart from wins? It's get that final title, then we'll see what happens. Because at the moment, the longevity you'd have to question, but at the same time, I did think that they would see out probably the clay swing in Wimbledon.
Yeah, it feels like it's been quite an abrupt end. Like the idea of it happening just before, the French Open. I do think that the Djokovic appetite is still there, and I think that will be aided maybe by having a dead hand in there that is going to keep him focused, and maybe having someone who not as experienced in coaching, no matter how amazing of a tennis player Andy Murray is, perhaps wasn't necessarily the best move, and maybe he'll go for a little bit more of an experienced option. But yeah, I'm more interested. I know you just said where does Novak Djokovic go from here? Where does Andy Murray go from here? Do you think this is just like
Ooh,
one
that's a better
foray
question, isn't it? It's more positive.
into coaching? Because again, there were times when I was kind of looking at his kind of social media. It sometimes didn't feel like he was fully committed or fully invested. Seeing him like play golf on the golf course, or flying out maybe at a different
Oh yeah,
time to
skiing.
events,
That was quite
skiing.
funny. Yeah.
So I don't know whether he's going to go back to kind of the family life, or whether it's scratch an itch and he's going to go look
How
and
about, yeah, I mean, Wimbledon, he could partner with a British player just for a limited period of time.
I
We
would
could
like
see him
that
in the commentary
trial.
box.
I think the trial would be really nice to see how that might work out with somebody, whether that's a Jacob Fernley, whether that's a Brit, I think it would be great to see something like that. But I also just think he's earned the time off. I think he's earned the right to take the time off. I think spend time with his family. I think I did think it was quite well sooner than he might have wanted, to return to the tour. I don't think he expected to be in Australia last year. I think that's something that we weren't expecting. He probably wasn't expecting, and maybe a little bit further down the line, we'll see him coaching again. But we're definitely going to see him at Queen's. They're opening the Andy Murray arena. I think they've renamed it. So that's his next move, and maybe take a bit of time and then see if there's someone who he can't resist. But I think Raducanu or Iga, I think that would be quite interesting.
Oh, Iga Świątek.
She said, I believe that she was in the mix of that. There were rumors, but we can't believe the Polish media we learned last week.
But is his stock? I feel like has his stock gone down because of the Djokovic experiment, or do you feel like
sometimes it's not the right fit though? It doesn't mean he's a bad coach.
Best good friends. I wouldn't like to work with my closest friends. I think that might make it a bit harder when the results don't come. And
someone your own age as well. It's different working with a peer maybe to someone more junior. So I think there's a time and a place for him.
Or the prophecy, Caroline Garcia, it could come full circle, having said that she was going to be that big talent.
Oh my word! Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
He needs to the tweet that has happened.
He needs to make it happen.
Social media, do your magic. Yes.
Yeah.